Barney, you got your toy? Where's your toy? Barney, where's your toy? Where's your toy? Where is it? Where's your toy? Why don't you go get your toy? Hey, I think we're live. What's going on, everybody? Barney, we're live. Go get your toy. Go get your toy. Clayton James Hicks, what is going on? Today is Music Man Monday. Yes, it is. Maybe I'll break out a Music Man. Maybe I'll break one out. Actually, but before I break out the Music Man, Paul, what's going on, dude? How are you? We're just messing around a little bit. Not too much. Just chilling out. It's kind of a rainy afternoon. Okay, Barney, this ball is bigger than you. Come here, look. You guys check this out. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I told him to get his toy, and here's Barney, okay? And he brings this ball. Do you think you can actually get this? Here, ready? Go get it. See if he brings it back. It is a little soft. Maybe he can. Oh my gosh, he brought it back. Okay, check. Okay, you guys gotta watch this. All right? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me turn the camera around here. Hold on. Check this out. Barney, come here. Come here. Go get the ball. Watch this, guys. He'll bring it back. Oh, it's classic. Classic. So, I guess he wants to play with that. So, hey, what's everybody up to today? Just kind of hanging out on a rainy Monday afternoon. With Chad, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Paul's here. Daniel's here. It's going good. It's going good. Not too bad. Simon, I am doing good, man. I'm doing really good. Clayton James Hicks is here, and he's telling us it is Music Man Monday. Yes, it is, and maybe I'll pull a Music Man out. But I kind of thought I'd kind of just mess around on my tour relic here, my USA tour relic. Kind of cool. Thought we could just talk about some Van Halen guitars and stuff and whatever. Tune down to drop D. Headstock Heron, what's going on? You've abused her. No, Eddie abused her. This was Eddie's guitar, man. He abused it. Yeah, I know, right? Now, this is a copy. It's a USA guitar. But I had it relic like Eddie's 2015 tour relic. It's pretty exact. Chris Hubbard did the work. It was a brand spanking new USA 2016 USA Wolfgang EVH. It's got the ebony fretboard, with the block inlays and all the, USA hardware and everything. Had the kill switch professionally installed. I got the relic job. I sent it to Chris Hubbard, and he basically did it kind of backwards. I mean, when they made these, this is a real USA Wolfgang, but it was reliced very, very well, almost identical to Eddie's, because I've seen the real ones. They think they did a 20-piece run on these relic jobs a few years ago, and I've seen the real ones. Saw one at the Music Zoo, and it was amazing, but it was identical to this exactly. I mean, pretty much everything. So, because that's basically what they did. However, they did it a little different on theirs. What they did is it was a black guitar, and then they painted it cream, and then they reliced it. Chip Ellis did. On this particular model, this was a cream guitar, so basically what Chris had to do when he reliced this one is he basically chipped off the paint, all the finish, right down to the wood on where it was painted. And every little black piece here that you can see was chipped right down to the wood, finish and everything. And then taped everything off, painted it all black. And then basically did the exact same thing that Chip Ellis did. You take an X-Acto knife, and that's how you add all the checking. You can see all the checking. It's pretty accurate. This is exactly what Eddie's looks like. It's all, you know, checked with an X-Acto knife to look like, you know, it was weathered over the years and all that. Pretty cool, pretty neat. I did all the hardware myself. The eye bolts, basically to make them look road worn, I dipped them in muriatic acid, I should say, and I did the headstock myself. Took an X-Acto knife and, you know, just scored it to the headstock. And yeah, I mean, this is a $3,000 guitar, but I'm a pretty hardcore dude when it comes to my replicas. Took some salt water with a Q-tip, kind of rusted up the screws a little bit. Again, like the real one, I didn't do anything to the Floyd. I kept the Floyd real original. Stuck some gaffer's tape here around the pickup and the bridge. Stuck the rubber band around it, and as I said, added the kill switch. The back of the neck was reliced by Nick Amendolara, the kid. He did a really good job kind of relicing the back of the neck. And Dave Nesdo and I pretty much kind of, you know, added some stain inside the cavity to kind of make it look darkened up, so it didn't look like all, you know, wood and everything. And again, like I said, the kill switch was professionally installed. And yeah, so it's a great guitar. It really is. I mean, you know, obviously one of my favorites. Boy, that sounded weird. On the drop beat. Yeah, it's a cool guitar. I like it. I don't play it very much, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Oh, one thing I did do to this guitar, and I really didn't need it. We'll talk a little bit about this, the stealth in this one today too. But Eddie's didn't have this, but I did add I added a big brass block on the back, and I painted it silver so it looked like a steel block, but it is a brass block, just painted. I did that to kind of give it a little bit more sustain, but you know, it's funny because I don't even really need that block on there because I took the you know, I took the plates, the screw finger plate and then the other aluminum plate off, and you guys all know how I feel about those. They suck, and they're tone robbers, and they do nothing really other than rob tone. And when you remove them off your Floyd, it gives you a much more, hear that? You're getting the actual base of the Floyd on the wood. So you're getting a much more sustainy sound because it doesn't have to pass through those two pieces of cheap-ass aluminum to get to the, I mean, even when you have it flush, when you have those pieces on the Floyd, you don't need them. They don't do anything. The Whale Tail original FRT5s, they didn't have any of that. And they're the best sounding bridges, you know, Floyd's ever. Floyd's missing the boat. They had to go back and make those original Whale Tails again because those things kicked ass. But, you know, I got one of my 5150. But, of course, they had a big steel block, too, so, you know. But anyways, when you do that, you know, you get much more sustain. It's like if you take a guitar, an electric guitar, not an acoustic, an electric guitar, and you hit a chord, you know, acoustically, whatever, right? And then you take it down and you actually lay it on like a coffee table, like a wooden table, and then kind of put your ear down. okay, you're going to hear it resonate so much. You're going to hear, like, because what's happening is the sound is resonating from the body of the guitar through the wood of the coffee table. And the reason that it does that is because it's physics. It's natural physics. It's just, the sound's going to resonate through something wooden. So when you remove useless pieces of hardware, now you're getting the bass of that Floyd sitting on the body flush. So you're going to get that much more. You're going to get a much more resonant sounding acoustic instrument, and that's going to translate, positively through your amp. You're going to hear it in your amp too. But when I pick up an electric guitar and I play, before I even plug in, because you can always change pickups out and tweak your amp. I want to hear how it feels, and I want to feel how it feels, or I want to hear how it sounds, and I want to feel how it feels when I hit a chord. I want to feel that chord kind of resonate through my chest a little bit acoustically, because sometimes if you hit a chord on a guitar and it's just kind of dead sometimes. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah, you can plug it in, you can compensate. But when you just hit a chord and you really just hear it resonate, that's the magic of a guitar. And of course, low action will help with that too. Let's see. The Chad says black tape on the bridge puck with a question mark. Yeah. So and Eddie did the same thing, and we'll talk about this guitar in a little while too. On a Stealth, on his. This is an exact replica of, well, it's not replica, it's a real EVH USA. But Eddie did the same thing. If you guys look at close pictures of the 2012 tour, you'll notice he had black electrical tape on the pickup here. And he's been doing this stuff for years and years and years. And on the Tour Relic, he did the same thing. He put tape, because what would happen is, one of the reasons that he did that is because when Eddie would do his, I don't have my Cathedral setup sound on my little Yamaha TH10X, THR10X, but when he would do his Cathedral stuff, Eddie's always, he's always banging the strings off the pickup. So what he would do is so this high E string didn't get stuck under the side of the puck, he would put tape there so it wouldn't, if he kind of overcompensated and pushed it a little bit, it wouldn't get stuck under there. He always did that. Steve Vai did the same thing. Because these kind of guitar players, they're always doing, bar dives. So when you do that and you're real aggressive on that kind of stuff, what happens is sometimes that string can get caught underneath there and you could snap it. So that just, all that was just to kind of keep the string from getting stuck. That was one of the reasons for that. There's a lot of crackling in your audio. Okay, how's that? I swear I'm going to throw this thing out. This iRig field, mic field thing totally blows ass. It really does. It sucks. So, headstock, just tell me right now real quick, is that any better? Can you hear, is the sound better? Is the crackling gone now that that stupid ass thing is out of the mix? Just send me a quick message if it sounds better. Chad, for the high E getting stuck, yeah. So like I said, if you're burying your bar, and you're hitting that high E, it can get stuck down there. So it's just one of the little tricks they did back in those days. So hopefully headstock, just shoot me a message real quick if the crackling's gone. Better, but still crackling a little. Okay, well maybe it'll get better here in a minute. Louder, but a bit hissing still, some crackling, huh? I'm going to invest in a real mic, a real decent mic here pretty soon, one of these days. That way when I do my videos, I'm going to do it sooner opposed to later. Let's see, the Chad, doing some work on my 7th tuner 5150, finally adding the zebra puck. Chad, I was actually going to ask you that the other day when you showed me your, and I didn't want to sound like a dick or anything, because I'm not, but I'm not like that. But I didn't want to come across like, hey dude, you got the 7th tuner, but you don't have the zebra puck in there. So we'll come back to the Tour Relic in a minute, because I want to kind of talk about the Stealth and the Tour Relic. But Chad Wall basically just got my 918V, and I really hope you like it, dude. It's an awesome guitar. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm in the process of building another one now. Chris Locke is doing the body for me, and Scott Smith hopefully is working on a neck for me for it, because I need to have another one. I already got the 1984 space tape in, because that's all it is, with 918V, and they just took two ones and you just crossed them for the V. But on the 5150, Chad added the 7th tuning peg. And I know what you're talking about, dude. It's a bear when you when you got to drill that hole in there, right? It sucks because you're like, oh my gosh, whatever. And you can see on mine, I have the exact string retainer that he used. This is a early 80s string retainer. It's so hard to find these. They're flat on the sides. They're very, very short. And that's why Eddie had to use the string tree here, because if he didn't have the tree, it would stick out and it would miss the retainer, because he just barely got it on the low E too. So I obviously wanted to make it exact to Eddie's. But these are round all the way around. They're not flat on one side. They are arced. Eddie had his upside down, so it was usually they bow up. This one bows down on the real 5150. They're flat on the sides. They're short and stubby, and they're round all the way around. So very hard to find those. It took me forever to find this one. You can replicate it by one of the newer ones and just put the flat side down. But if you really want to get geeky and get the real one, they're difficult to find. They come off the early Pacers. And then, as you guys know, this is the right Fender vintage string tree Hubbard made. They're really cool. And then basically on your 7 tuning peg, basically all you're doing is you're just drilling a hole through the R and the A, and you know, that's your high E. But yeah, it's kind of freaky when you do that. And of course, you know, you got the cigarette burns and all that stuff here. There's a split in the headstock. Here's where some leftover residue when Music Man put their logo on it. He ripped it off. And on the back, as you guys can see, Eddie had basically what he did was, and we've talked about this before, these are Gatto tuners. Well, this one's not, but we'll talk about that. These were the original 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this was the 6th one, which was up at the end. So when the headstock split, Music Man repaired it. So they moved this 6th Gatto down here, all right, drilled the hole, obviously fixed the headstock, and then they stuck a Schaller double tab tuner on the in the original 6-string spot, and only used one screw. And again, it really didn't matter. It was just basically there for show. They didn't really have to put anything on there. But Eddie had a lot of these double tabs laying around, because back in the late 70s, mostly the late 70s, he was using these double tabs. The Schaller was making them. Now these are really hard to find. My good buddy Mark Blankenship is awesome. He finds these a lot. They're difficult to find, but I have a bunch of sets for some of my guitars. But these were Gatto tuners. They weren't Schallers. They were Gattos. The only Schaller was this one here. And basically, Schallers are better tuners, really, than the Gattos. They're all pretty much the same, but they were 90-degree tabs. They weren't 45s. They were 90 degrees, which means they went right out to the side. But that's it. And it was a vintage prototype Floyd nut, which is what this is. You can tell they're a little more crude looking. Now Eddie has the original nut on his now, but he's since changed the clamps to regular ones, and that's probably one of the only things that's not accurate about my 5150. I just wanted to keep everything original like it was when he first put it on. So I mean, basically the clamps are regular clamps, but the nut is original. And again, you can see a little crude, whereas on the newer Floyd nuts, where the string goes in, they kind of V. Well, these are more flat. All right. And they're a little bit fatter. They're a little boxier looking and more crude. And the clamps are actually smaller. And you can see the little humpbacks on them. So these are the prototype nuts. This is a real prototype nut. And since we're talking about it, I'm not going to make a show on the 5150, but the neck plate was Kramer B4 126. Okay. I'm sorry, B4 129. Duh. Must be looking in the mirror here. B4 129. It was Kramer. Okay, you can have these custom made too. The holes in the back here were from 1984, where Eddie had the tray table on there. And big steel block, which this is. This is a Floyd Rose Whaletail FRT5. You can see the bar. It's got the long stem on it. Really, really cool. Had the yellow ground wire. Now, he always had only 2 springs, but over the course of maybe the last 10 years or so, I was talking to Adam Reaver at Winter NAMM out in Anaheim, California, back in January when I was out there, and I didn't know this, but Eddie now has, well, I knew he had 3 springs, but they're actually black springs on his 5150. Who knows why they changed it? You don't know. Original pacer plate, just 2 screws, not 4. And all the relicing, and you can tell, it's all, it is what it is. The back eye bolt has been dipped in Plasti Dip, because Eddie's was. It's also got a set screw. It's welded in the set screw, but he was playing around with this stuff back in the 90s. He was dipping his eye bolts in Plasti Dip, because when he would hook the leash, the dog leash clips on, it wouldn't quite make as much noise because it was a rubber on metal versus metal on metal, so you're going to get a little bit less sound. And then, same thing down here, although he didn't dip the whole washer. It's welded and it's got the set screw. He dipped the, he dipped the eye bolt, and as you can see, it wore away. Mine's exactly to what Eddie's looks like, as best I could. I needed to make it exact. This is my favorite Van Halen guitar, so I got to be as geeky as you can with this one. The big hole here is when he had played in 2004 for Up for Breakfast. He had the big stupid rod sticking out, like I do have on my Sustainer PV Wolfgang there. He had that sticking out, and this is how it's screwed in. He had a washer jammed in there. And then over the years, just numerous holes, because he was always messing around and moving the eye bolts and throwing new ones in there. And he also had the little mic stand thing stuck on there. So it was actually right here. It was 1, 2, 3. What I'm talking about on that is back in. This is my purple PV Wolfgang, and you'll notice it's also got it's got the welded eye bolts. These aren't dipped; they're just they're just a little darker. But it's number 8 eye bolt welded washer. I don't have a set screw in there, but I'll probably put one in eventually. This is what this was. This is back in '98. He had one of these things on there, and he had it was a different type of like a microphone cable sticking out to keep the cord away. He must have put one of these on the 5150 at one point. So you can tell that's what was on the 5150. He was doing all kinds of weird stuff back at that time, because you got to remember, he was playing with cords. He wasn't playing wireless anymore. So, because he just didn't like the sound that he was getting in his head, he was hearing a different kind of sound playing with the wireless. Quite frankly, I thought it sounded better with wireless, because I hated the sound in '98 and '04 and '07. And he went back to the wireless in 2012, and he's kicking ass again. So, go figure, right? But that's Eddie going through his in his brain, like the changes of making changes. He's never happy. He's always tinkering with something, always doing something different. So that's what all these holes were here. Floyd Rose, obviously, this is a Jim Francis remake, but it's a Whaletail Floyd. You can tell it's more boxy. The bass is more boxy. The Floyd Rose is not in the middle. It's more higher. The saddles are a little shorter. Again, more boxy. The blocks in there are actually T blocks. They have a little T at the bottom so they don't just fall out, which I kind of like. But the saddles are shorter. Brass fine tuners, and they will unscrew all the way out. They don't have a stop on them. And again, on these you can see they don't have those stupid pieces of metal underneath them, the finger screws or anything. They just they're just basically. Let me do it here. I can't do 2 things at once. You can tell they just, once you have tension on springs, you don't need them anyways. So, and then as you can tell, you get you get real good sustain. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about sustain. See how this sits flush right to the body. All right, that's what's going to give you good sustain. Now also the collars on the bar. Obviously mine's loose like Eddie's is. He had a nylon bushing under there, which is what the Whale Tails had, the FRT5s. And then you got 11 millimeter nut. I think it's either 11 or 16, I can't remember. But it's an 11 millimeter nut, basically what you can get at the hardware store. So I've switched all mine out on all my Floyds that were, you know, to make them Whale Tail, you know, like time frame, you know, time stamp it if that's what they had on them back when Eddie had it, and the ones that didn't, I don't. But yeah, Eddie always had this Whale Tail FRT5 on his 5150. So that's what this is. That's what this is. You can buy these right at the hardware store if you guys want to geek out and do that to your Floyds. And the bars were a little straighter. They weren't as angled. They were like an aluminum bar. And believe it or not, Eddie has this bar, or one of these Whale Tail bars on his Frankenstack right now. A lot of people maybe didn't pick up on that. But and then the only other difference basically would be the mounting screws back when they were making the Whale Tails bridges. They were a little bit different. They were a little smaller, but you can tell they had a taller hat on them. They didn't just go down at an angle. They weren't totally fluted. They fluted, but they had a top hat on them, which is a little taller. You can tell. You can see that right there. Really hard to find those. You know, classic MXR knob, low friction, 5150. You can see all the dents here when Eddie would, you know, that's all from Allen keys, you know, from tightening these up and string change and all that. The 5150 stickers, obviously, the 0 was off kilter, it was a little bit too high and arced. Eddie replaced it with a PV Wolfgang pickup, 96, and all the graininess, you can see all the grain in the body, which is something that us replica builders didn't even pick up on until a couple of years ago. We had no idea. The No Bozos pictures came out like, whoa, look at all that wood grain. So, you know, Hubbard knocked this one out of the park. He really did. Really, really did. All the residue from the duct tape, ripping it up and all that. Just, you know, overspray. It's a great guitar. It's my favorite. Cigarette burns. And then right here, residue from when, you know, he had the piece of tape here so we could see where the input jack was. And he switched the plate out too in around the 90s. But yeah, great guitar. Definitely a great guitar. A lot of fun. So back to you, Chad. Yeah, this pickup here, you know, I never said anything because technically your guitar, you could have pulled it off as a 1990 Cabo Wabo version because they had the 7-tuner on that when he played that back then. 1990, the opening gig at Cabo, Eddie, Music Man, it's so hard to tell if the Music Man logo was on there at that point. I don't think it was. There's a lot of rumor on how the headstock broke. I've heard rumors that Eddie was pissed at Alex and freaking threw the guitar at him, and it could be. I mean, hard to tell. I mean, this guitar has taken so many nosedives over the years. I showed a live video that I have back in Montreal at the end of the show where Eddie threw his guitar to Zeke and it got caught and fell down right on the ground. Some of you guys have seen that. I actually showed that one of my videos I did a couple months ago. It's kind of funny. But this guitar is, I mean, your typical road-worn, you know, badass rock and roll guitar. One other thing a lot of people miss on their replicas, I don't know if I can show you. See this right here? See this little arc right here, like an indentation? See that? You know what that is? It's from the bar banging down when Eddie would bury that bar. He was so aggressive and it would go up and down. So what he did over the course of all those years is that bar just made an indentation in the wood. That's something that Chris found. And then there's one other thing that a lot of people miss when they make these replicas. And I'm just pointing this out because I want everybody who enjoys this stuff to really to have fun with it, and because I'm still learning. There's an indentation right here. You guys see this? See that right there where my finger is? Hard to say what it is, but Eddie's has that. All right, and you can see it in the 5150 tour book. If you look, there's another picture of it too. And what that, he dropped something on it. But a really cool way to replicate that is you take a dog leash. See this part right here? You know, like a clip. You know what I'm talking about from the straps. You take that rounded end. I'm giving you guys my secrets on how to do this stuff. You stick it there, you take a hammer very lightly, and you go one hit. And what you'll do is you'll be able to replicate that dent in the body. Especially if it's basswood, which is, this guitar was not poplar, okay? It was basswood. I don't care what anybody says, it was basswood. But that's how you can replicate that. So let's go back, see what we got for some questions here. Jimmy Ka, I know you were here. Eddie did use the live red kill switch button with a whammy bar sound. Yeah, he did, Clay. I ended up getting a Music Man Axis EX in quilted gold from Japan. What a great guitar, exactly like the EVH Music Man. That's awesome, Dan. But it's not exactly like the EVH Music Man. It is the EVH Music Man. It's exactly that guitar. A lot of people say, oh, these are great, you know, replicas or copies. They are not. They are real Music Man guitars. They were just made in Japan, and they were made from leftover parts. And when they ran out of parts, they were making the bodies exactly the same. The only thing they did differently was over the maple cap, because they might not have all been book match maple. They would just put a thin piece of veneer. But they were basswood bodies. They did all have maple caps. They just had a veneer top on them. But make no mistake, the guitar you got is like my green one and my amber one. They are the real deal, and they play, sound, and are exactly just as good because they're the same exact parts and everything. And you know, so good for you. That's awesome. Let's see what else we got. Sucker in a three-piece. Hey, Pete, what's going on, man? How you doing? Sucker in a three-piece. I already played this for you one time, a few months ago. I'm not going to play the whole song, but I don't even remember how to play it now. Every time I play something, I don't play it again. I know, hold on. Let me change my sound. Let me get back to... I haven't played in a while. I was just playing the song a few months ago. I can't remember. Yeah, it's been a while since I played that song. It's a fun song though. So one other thing I just was going to say real quick is on the Frankenstrap, and a lot of people didn't recognize this. Eddie had whale tails on his Frankenstrap. Whale tail bridges. throughout the years. But he's got a regular FRT, whatever the latest, the 80s models were, but he had a whale tail bar on it, and he had that nut right here, that regular basic, Ace Hardware 11 millimeter nut. He didn't have the classic Floyd Rose collar on there. And I think it's because he really liked those old whale tail bars because they were a little bit straighter. And they had a different texture to them, they really did. So, kind of neat. Alright, so what else we got? Let's see. Purple, my favorite color. Yeah, that is pretty. I do like that. Yeah, it's fun. Are you making a Kramer? Are you making Kramer with a sustainer pickup? Well, I made a replica. It's not a playing guitar. It's one of the ones that I'll show you real quick. It's just some spare parts I had laying around, and I posted this on Instagram the other day. Just some old parts laying around. It's not a playing guitar. This is a guitar that Eddie had, and still has in his studio hanging up. It was a Kramer guitar, and this is a Kramer body. It's not it's not a Beretta style body, but it had a slanted pickup in the bridge, and then a humbucking straight pickup in the neck, maple neck, hockey stick head, but it was real stubby looking. Had the truss rod cover and everything here, and basically this was the paint job that I had. This is like a Strat bridge with a bunch of. Actually, these are two pieces of those junky pieces of garbage I removed from the Floyd Rose unit that's underneath. It's that little piece of a. I'm like, oh, that'll look good because it's just a wall hanger. But yeah, Eddie had made this guitar. So this is just a regular pickup. I just took some aluminum tape and stuck it over the pole pieces so it looked like it was a sustainer. Because like I said, this is a wall hanger. This just hangs on the wall. It's not a player. But I painted it up last week. But this is basically what the paint job looks like. Here's the back. There's nothing in here, but that would be where the battery would go, or maybe some of the electronics. But yeah, this is what the back looked like. And the back of the headstock was painted like this. So I was literally just going to throw these parts out because they were just junk. And I'm like, oh, I'll make one of those guitars. Because this is a guitar I'd never play. It's not one of my favorites. But matter of fact, it was a single coil and a humbucker. So I filled in everything here and just routed out just to jam that in there. But they're all junk parts. There's nothing playable about this guitar. I mean, I could make it playable, but just a wall hanger, kind of cool. All my other guitars basically are players. So, but yeah, I did do one of those. I am having a great afternoon, Zach. Thank you, you too. Thank you. Let's see. Saw your post on Instagram. Yeah, okay, I just answered that. Punky, what's up, man? Glad you're enjoying it. Do most people do the electronics themselves for custom builds, or is there someone I can have do it? I can't do the electronics for the life of me. Frag, what are you talking about? Are you talking about a sustainer, or are you just talking about like a regular wiring job, for like a one pickup, one knob guitar, like classic Eddie? If you're talking about the sustainers, yeah, those are crazy. Those are absolutely nuts. There's just so much involved in wiring one of those things. And I mean, some people can do it, but I had to have mine professionally done. Matter of fact, mine was wired up prior to getting it. I did replace the pickup, but it was pretty much just a plug and play. They came with a little plastic clip that just plugged into the electronics. So, but yeah, you would have to have something like that professionally done, probably. But if you're just talking about just a basic wiring job on a Strat or a Telecaster or a Gibson or any kind of a guitar, it kind of depends. I mean, some people are good at that kind of stuff, and some people aren't. I mean, I can wire my own guitars. It's not hard. You just have to have a diagram to go by, and you have to kind of be good at soldering. I kind of suck at soldering. So when I build a guitar, like I'm going to be building another 918V because Chad stole mine.
actually. Him and I worked out a really good deal. And I'm happy for 2 reasons. One, because I was able to get some good compensation for it, and in an effort to get my Steinberger repaired, my GL2T, because that's at Jeff Babbitt's right now getting an overhaul. And Jeff got hopefully a really cool guitar that he's wanted, and he's been after me for a while for that damn thing. And I'm like, no, I want my 918V. But so now I got to build another one. So my goal is to make it at least as good as the last one. So, but anyways, when I build a guitar, basically what I do, just like if I'm going to build like a Kramer guitar, not something like this, because I get these all already done, and then I'll just take the parts out, and then like I'm going to have a relic job done to it, I'll just put them all back in. It's pretty easy, plug and play. But if I'm building a guitar from scratch, just as an example, say I get a body from Chris Locke, okay, and I get a neck from Musicraft, say, okay, and I'll go out and I'll buy a Floyd. By the way, I'm looking for a Floyd Rose for my 918V. So if any of you folks out there are feeling generous today and would like to donate me a chrome original Floyd Rose, I'm accepting donations. Or if you want to sell me one, that's fine too. I'll buy one. I figured I'd ask because I do need a chrome original Floyd Rose. I don't care if it's used. I'd rather have it be used and kind of beat up a little bit so it looks the part. But if anybody has a a chrome Floyd Rose original they want to get rid of, just hit me up, because I need one for my 918V build. That's the last thing I need. But anyways, I'll get out. I'll go out and I'll buy the pickups. I'll buy the Floyd. I'll buy the tuners. And sometimes I already have the stuff. But basically, what I do is when the parts come in, the bodies come in, I'll paint the bodies, or I'll just have, if it's something I don't want to do, I'll, have Chris or Nick do it. But most of the time, I'll just do it myself. I'll paint the body, paint the headstock, if it's a painted headstock guitar I'm doing. So basically, get that stuff set up, the cosmetic aspect, tweak a few things, and basically what I do is I have a guitar guy that lives close to me. And I've done it myself. I can wire everything and set everything up. But when you're building a guitar from scratch, you got to keep a couple things in mind. If you're buying the body and neck from 2 different people, which a lot of times, I do, and even if you're not and you're buying the body and neck from the same person, sometimes they marry up, but they don't marry up like a factory guitar, because you got a lot of stuff to compensate for. You got to have shims under the neck, possibly. You got to be able to, you have to look at, you're going to need shims under the nut if it's a Floyd nut. This is a whole bunch of things you got to take into account, and that's just to get the guitar set up right. So basically, what I'll do is I'll get the guitar painted. I'll put the neck on. And then I'll bring it to my guitar tech guy, and I'm just like, hey, dude, just set this thing up, string it up, wire it up, and I'll pay him $70 just to set up, because it's just easier for him. It's easier for me to have it set up by a professional. I can do it, but it's just better to have someone who knows what they're doing, a professional luthier, just tweak all that stuff. It just works a little bit better. So it kind of depends, to be honest with you. It depends how comfortable you are with wiring stuff up. So hope that answers your question, Frag. Andrew, what's going on, dude? Do you think he still plays the Hagar or stuff while he's on his own? I don't know, man. I want to say I hope so. And for the life of me, Wolfgang is now basically the spokesperson for that band. He's the one that picks the set lists. He's the one that's putting the Instagram stuff up, playing the electro micro harmonic synthesizer, the one that Eddie did Sunday afternoon in the park. He's the one doing all that stuff. He's the one coming up with the songs they're going to play. And basically, he's Eddie's inspiration for all that stuff. You think Eddie would have went out and played freaking Hang 'em High back in 2012? Of course not. He's got his boy there saying, hey, Dad, do this, do this, do this. So my point being is, I would hope that Wolfgang would be looking back going, damn, we got some freaking kick-ass songs back, in '86, I mean, how can you not listen to that stuff and be like, Dad, we should play some of that stuff, you know? Whether it's, you know, Summer Nights or, you know, I mean, 5150. I mean, even, you know, if I was Wolfgang, I'd be like, hey, Dad, let's rip this one out. You know, let's play this one. I mean, I would be like, Dad, play that shit, you know? I mean, honestly, I mean, there's just so much good stuff. I mean, from freaking that to, what's another one? I mean, I love the balance stuff. I mean, I would just be like bugging my dad. Oh man, Dad, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. I mean, I would seriously be like, yeah. So yeah, I would hope that he's doing that. I would hope that he's, you know, kind of messing around with some of the songs. And again, you know, we all want to see Hagar come back, and we want to see Roth there. Like I said, I would be happy if Van Halen shut the door on everything and I never saw him tour again. I don't even care. I got enough bootlegs and guitars and sell your EVH shit, and I'll keep buying it like I always do. You know, if they would just retire. But retire after a farewell tour with Hagar and Roth. You know, if I can bring Gary back and sing Fire in the Hole too, that'd be cool. I mean, that never happened, but I mean, you know, I'd be so happy. Bring Mikey back, bring Sammy back, trade off. I mean, I know it's wishful thinking, but you know how much freaking money would be thrown at these guys? I mean, it'd be more than the gross national product. But it's not even about the money. It's about, it would be awesome, okay, to hear, you know, to hear Sammy singing, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, it just be so cool to hear 5150 and Summer Nights and Judgment Day, and okay, right now, you know, When It's Love and all, yeah, of course, want to hear those too. But I mean, and then hear Roth come out and do, you know, Cradle Will Rock, and I mean, that would just be a Van Halen fan's dream. So I would think Eddie still messes around, but you got to also remember, Eddie's typically not sitting in the studio, you know, listening to their old records, playing old tunes. He's always writing. At least he used to be. I don't know what his take on stuff is now. Now that Wolfgang's older, I think Wolfgang's kind of delegating what you know, what his dad does. So maybe he is. I kind of hope he is. Young Guns isn't on today, Ron. Actually, I watched Young Guns the other night. Actually, after you said that, I was like, oh, I want to go watch Young Guns. Frag, yeah, I can't solder for shit either. I can't, dude. I mean, I can do it, but it's so sloppy. It's just easier for me to have someone else do that kind of stuff. Thank you, Punky. Click on the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm addicted to Kramer guitars. Bought 5 this week alone. Really? What did you buy? I'm curious to know. I love Kramer guitars. I'm looking for another Pacer. Me and Dave Nesdahl might be doing a deal pretty soon. I might be getting one of his Pacers now that I don't have my purple Rockinger Pacer anymore. I'm kind of going through withdrawals now. But yeah, let me know what you write down what you bought, Punky. I'd love to. We'd all like to see. Frag, thanks for the info, man. You're the best. Thank you. Like I said, I mean, for me, I'd rather have a professional do it. Just because I love all my guitars and I want them to play great. Now that in mind, as the years go by, I mean, I've been playing guitar for 24 years, 24, 25 years now, and I'm not talking about playing, I'm talking about like setting stuff up. I'm still learning how to tweak guitars and, oh wow, that I can do that now, or I can do that now. Or I'd never be able to do that before, you know. It's like one thing that I kind of still, to this day, impress myself with. And I don't even know how I still did it. I think I got lucky. My 2-inch thick Rude Fair Warning guitar. Jerry Leica, my good friend Jerry, did this body for me about a year or so ago. It's got that real awesome kind of contour here, arm contour, which Eddie's did too. And Jerry did this body for me. And this guitar had some different necks on it, of course, we all know. And one of the necks that I really liked on this guitar was this one. It was this rosewood, kind of upside down 3x3, tilt back headstock. And you guys saw this in the Fair Warning tour. Eddie had a maple neck on it, Strat neck, but then he had this one on there for a little while. So I figured, I was like, my Circles guitar has that, so mix it up a little bit. And 20 years ago, I used to have one of these guitars, and I had this neck on it. So anyways, make a long story short, my good friend Scott sent me this neck for free. This is one he had kicking around, but it didn't have a Floyd nut on it. So I routed the nut out myself, all right? Took the regular nut off. I actually didn't even have one, so I took it down my Dremel. And I took these little wooden bungs and built up, I don't know if you guys can see, I built up the shelf with super glue. And then I put a shim underneath it. Now this is not a snake bite from behind. What I mean by snake bite is the bolts that go in from behind. This is screwed down from the top nut. But I impressed myself because I nailed it and I got nice low action. I mean, I don't know if it's in tune, but I got this thing, playing pretty good. And I did it by building that nut up. And I just did that last year. And I mean, 5 year ago or before, I never could have done that. I would have been like, yeah, okay, right. I'd had my guitar guy do it. And it took me about maybe an hour in the dining room one night about a year ago, and I did it. So I still kind of surprised myself. So I'm always up for the challenge to do stuff. But when it comes to wiring, I swear, every time I try to wire a guitar, I screw it up. So that's just me. So it kind of depends. But yeah, I mean, if you can do your own work, that's awesome. You can save money, and it's fun. But the wiring stuff, not so much for me. What else we got? Randy, what's happening, dude? Didn't know. Nick says, didn't know I was on. Just finished jam myself. Good for you, dude. I saw your live video the other night. I didn't catch it live. I watched that after you were already off. But that was awesome, man. I love watching you play. You do a hell of a job, and you're always an inspiration. Whenever I watch you guys play, it always makes me want to pick up a guitar. Zach T, the entire Balance album. I know, I love it, man. It's like, one of my favorites is, I mean, again, I don't have the right sound going for Balance, but... I mean, Seventh Seal is, I mean, like I said, the sound sounds like crap because I have a very older Van Halen tone going, so it's not the balancey, chorusy, harmonized sound with a heavy delay. But it a lot of people are like, they don't really like that sound and Balance. I mean, it went number one, obviously, back in '95. I remember I bought it in cassette in '95. Well, actually, no. I bought it on CD. But I was dating my ex-wife at the time. We were going on a date, and I'm like, hey, the new Van Halen album came out. I gotta go get it. So I bought the CD. I remember this like, Seventh Seal comes out. I was like, whoa. And then they had the Poppy song. I mean, I don't remember how to play it, but... even, Can't Stop Loving You, I was just like, oh, that's so cool, and Aftershock and Don't Tell Me and Amsterdam, Bleach Ethereum, I was just like, whoa, I mean, and even songs like Take Me Back and Not Enough, I mean, they had, I don't know, I know the band was kind of going through some serious turmoil at that time. It was kind of when stuff really started falling apart. And then, eventually it did in '96, with Sammy, I mean. But, I mean, the band was changing. But, I mean, adversity, in my opinion, adversity creates magic when it comes to creating something. I mean, in my opinion. And I'm not saying everybody should, I'm not saying, should be in a horrible, marriage all the time, you're going to have a great life, you're going to create, no. What I'm saying is a lot of times, from an artistic point of view, adversity can create some amazing product. However, over the course of time, it's eventually going to crash. And it did with Roth, and it did with Sammy. Gary came along and they put out a pretty cool album, different. I mean, it's still not my favorite, but they had some awesome stuff. I appreciate VH3 a lot more now than I did, back then. I mean, I always loved Fire in the Hole, but, it was a good album, and I'll give them credit. They went through a change. I mean, anybody's going to go through a change. I mean, to be able to go through the changes that Van Halen went through and then still be where they are today, I mean, that's just, it's amazing. And, kudos to them. But I remember seeing Van Halen and Balance, and I'm telling you what, I was so freaking pumped because I hadn't even started playing guitar yet. I was 22 years old. I started playing guitar when I was 23 in '96, and it was the Balance era. I mean, I always wanted to play guitar. I was a little kid, I wanted to play guitar, but I was always too busy doing martial arts and sports and stuff. And it wasn't I didn't want to, I just never had enough time. So, in college and whatever, I'm just like, oh man, I want to start doing this, man. I want to play guitar. So I started finding time to do it, but it was the Balance album, because I'd always been a Van Halen fan. Not like I am now, obviously. I didn't have any guitars or anything. But I was always a big Van Halen fan. And, I didn't listen a lot to, I knew Ain't Talking About Love and Jamie's Crying and You Really Got Me and that kind of stuff. But Running with the Devil, Beautiful Girls, I knew the hits, But obviously, 1984, I was 11 years old, so Jump and Panama were huge. And then Sandy comes along, and those were my high school years. So Love Walks In, Summer Nights, and Dreams. I mean, that was, everybody's like, how do you like Hagar more than Roth? Well, I mean, that was my high school years, dude. It's like, come on, this are the dances. We go to the dances, and you dance with chicks to Love Walks In or When It's Love. I mean, that's, David Coverdale was playing "Is This Love," out of Whitesnake. And those were my high school years. I mean, I was too young when Roth was in the band to be a rocker. I was just a kid. I was in the Incredible Hulk and the A-Team. That was my childhood. And then in high school, Hagar's in the band. So of course I love the Roth stuff. It's amazing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But Hagar was my passion because there was more melodic, high school year type anthems for me. But I remember going to see Van Halen in '95 in Balance, and frickin' A, man. You got the, the monks and everything going. And then I never forget, I saw him in Worcester, Massachusetts, and the lights come on, and that first freaking chord. I mean, I was just like, whoa. And Eddie's got the freaking, where's my shirt? It's up there. You can see it. He's got the freaking Balance work shirt going. He's got the blonde hair. By the way, I don't anymore. It was too gay looking. I shouldn't say the word gay. It was just kind of weird on me. But it was too blonde. Okay, I liked it, but the lady messed it up. She went a little bit too beyond gay kind of thing. And I was just like, whoa, And then I remember hearing them play the classics. Eddie had the Amber Music Man going, and they were playing, all the Balance stuff and Dreams and all that. I'm like, that was the first time I ever saw them live. And then my absolute favorite Roth era song, they run in, they rip in. I remember seeing that, like, I was probably maybe 20 rows back, and my mouth was like this, though. I mean, I was 22 years old. I'm like, holy shit, these guys are fucking incredible. I mean, here's Eddie Van Halen, the guy I've been seeing on MTV all these years, listening to the songs. And that was it. So, and I love that big, huge, chorusy, harmonized, over-processed, I guess, heavy delayed sound. It was just like so powerful and majestic sounding. It was just like, whoa, it was amazing. So big, and it's just like rock shows back in those days were just like, it was just everybody had mouths like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. So anyways, and then I started playing guitar. But I remember that, and I listened back to the Balance album now, and I was like, damn, that sounds amazing. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, right from the beginning of Pound Cake, I mean, I'm not going to get my drill, but... I mean, it was just, I remember that sound, hearing that, and I remember, going to a soccer game back in '92, the year I graduated high school, going to a soccer game, and, For Unlawful had just come out, and I remember we're all playing it on the bus, and we're like, whoa, the bus driver's like, turn that shit down, whatever, like, fuck you, whatever, we're just cranking it even louder, I mean, can't remember how this. Something like that. I can't remember. But anyways, I'm just screwing around, just having fun tonight. Yeah, it was a great time. And then Sammy leaves, in '96, and right at the brink of if any of you guys out there used to get the Inside magazine, which was a Van Halen magazine, whatever they used to put out through the VH store, Van Halen store. Jeff Hausman, great guy, by the way. I haven't talked to Jeff in a while. I can give him a call one of these days and see what he's up to. It's been about a year or so since I've actually talked with him. But they used to put that magazine out. It was cool because we didn't have a lot of, internet was just coming up back in the 90s and, 93, 94, 95, 96. And so the Van Halen's, Inside magazine was pretty much the only kind of news we got on Van Halen back then, unless you heard something on the radio. And I remember seeing the Humans Being video, and you can see Eddie and Sammy, there is just enough Christ in, they're going back and forth, and it's like, whoa, what a freaking great song, and I love Humans Being. Something like that. I can't remember how the rest of it goes, but and then next thing you know, we're getting Me Wise Magic and can't stop loving you. Not so much. Can't get this stuff no more. And it was like, whoa, Roth's back, and I'd never seen him with Roth live, so it was so freaking cool, and that lasted about 4 minutes, But anyways, what do we got? What's up, Rod? Let's see. Don't tell me he has so much emotion in those notes. I freaking love. Yeah, I know. It really does. I mean, I mean the. Trying to remember the set. I was actually just trying to remember how to play this morning, but I mean, just the the way Eddie. A lot of people don't know this, but when Eddie played this, he was in drop D. Obviously, he was thumping on the low E. And I'm not trying to go off on a craze. What the hell is that? Frag. I'm trying to answer your question. I'm not trying to go off on a craze here, but Eddie was not just going. What he was doing is he's taking his pinky and he's sticking it in between the low E and the A string. Pretty much just bracing it against the bridge so it kind of muffles it, all right? And of course he's muting all the other strings and he's fretting on the 2nd and the 4th fret on the low E. And all he's doing, I'll show you, he's got his fingers stuck in here just like this, right? So it kind of like deadens the sound. And then he's kind of picking it on the side, so he's going. And And you can even hear, if you listen really close, you can hear a couple of other strings ringing out, even on the album. I mean, I'm just trying to make myself feel better. But you can even hear like some Eddie, like, you know, not totally mute and everything, but that's what he's doing. He's just got his finger in there, and that's all he's doing. He's just kind of deadening the string. Then he just goes into that chord. And the best part is at the end where he's like, my action's way too low on this low E, so it actually just hits the frets, but that's the best part. Here we go. But, yeah, it's a great song. Great, and then the end solo, the last solo is like my favorite. I'm trying to remember how that goes. Hold on, what's that? That's over. I can't remember. I'm getting both solos mixed up. I'd have to hear it. They're actually pretty easy. They're not even really that hard to play. But you're right. You got so much feeling in those, you know, for sure. Do you feel taking the neck pickup out, eliminating that magnetic field, gives a better bridge pickup tone? Well, I mean, Eddie thought so all those years playing Kramer's. And actually, the last video I did, I kind of talked about that. Eddie's take on things back in those days was, I can never get the bridge and the neck pickup to both sound good. Either the bridge pickup sounds great, the neck pickup sounds like ass, or the neck pickup sounds good and the bridge pickup sounds like ass. That was always his theory from late 70s right up until 1990, 91. So I don't know. I mean, one pickup guitars are awesome, and most all my Kramers, are all, our Van Halen guitars. They're all one pickup guitars. I personally don't use the neck pickup a lot in any of my guitars. Probably, to be completely, faithfully honest. I mean, I'm not good enough of a guitar player to where I really can utilize a neck pickup. I mean, sometimes, if I'm playing like, song like, say, Light Up the Sky or something, I'll go to the neck pickup for hold on. Get that out of drop B. If I'm playing something like this, sometimes I'll go to that, as Eddie used to call it, kind of womany tone. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll mess around with that a little bit when I'm doing solos. But for me, normally, I mean, I'll just roll back on the volume a little bit if I want to get a kind of a little bit less aggressive of an attacky kind of lesser tone sound. But that's only because I'm limited as a guitar player, because guitar playing for me is more of a hobby than it is a profession. I'm a collector, I'm a hobbyist when it comes to guitar playing. That's not my profession. I mean, I'd like to think I keep getting better as the years go on, but I mean, I don't think it makes a better sound, to answer your question, Frag. But in 1990, 91, Eddie, grab my switch over here for just a minute. Eddie went with the Music Man, and so now he's playing these, and this was the first guitar that he pretty much was like, oh, okay, now we're gonna do a neck pickup. So obviously the Music Man pickups were different than the EVHs. They were DiMarzios. He had a DiMarzio tone zone, is basically what the bridge pickups are in the Music Mans. And then he had the, it was basically like an Aaron Norton DiMarzio in the neck. And the heights were different, you can tell. The height on the bridge pickup was really close to the strings, all right? And the height on the neck pickup was a lot further away, and so what that did is that kind of gave him a little bit different of a sound. So, I mean, yeah, it was a little bit different, when he would play songs like, let's see, I'm trying to think, when he came out with this guitar, he would play songs like, so I mean, he would play those kind of songs. But sometimes, when he would go into even like a song on Pound Cake, what he started doing was he would play the whole song, the basics of the song, like say a song like Pound Cake. Everything was on, the bridge pickup for the, But then when he would go into the solos, he would switch up to the neck. I can't remember what those tapped ones are on this thing. So he would get that, he used to call it a woman tone, like a womansy type tone out of that neck pickup. It's just different. I mean, I guess, you got to remember, it's not necessarily better or worse. It's just the changes that Eddie was going through. So for me to answer that question, I think it depends. I mean, some people like driving a standard shift car because they like the control. Some people would rather have an automatic. Some people want to have a tone knob. I could care less about a tone knob. I never use the tone knob. For me, the tone's all the way up. I just need a volume to kind of roll back with if I want to get a different sound. Some people want to have a neck pickup some people want to have all kinds of, choices on their guitars, from pickups to knobs to tones to kill switch. I mean, it basically just depends. And you got to remember that Eddie was always going through changes. All those years, it was a Strat style guitar, one pickup, one knob, Floyd Rose, and that's it. That's all he needed. And he created magic with it. 90s roll around, Eddie comes out with his first, legit signature guitar, okay? And, now he's got choices. He's got a neck pickup. Still only got a volume knob, labeled tone, okay? But it's a different guitar. And, it's a kick-ass guitar. And in my opinion, these Music Mans were some of his best guitars. And to this day, in 5150, Eddie's original amber quilt top Music Man, this one, all right, it's still hanging in 5150 because it's still one of his go-to guitars because he just loves it so much. It's got so much mojo to it. So it kind of depends. Okay, so Punky says he bought a 2016 40th anniversary Pacer. Whoa, nice. Send me some. Find me on Instagram or Facebook, okay? Rob Johnson. I mean, you can find me. I'm easy to find. I'm friends with all these guitar guys. Send me some pictures. I want to see these. 2018 Beretta Vintage. Ooh, unknown year SM1. 2016 Pariah, 2018 Diver Down Beretta. Oh, I want one of those. I've always wanted the Diver Down one. Awesome, man. Can I borrow some money, by the way? I need to buy some new guitars. Good for you, dude. That's awesome, man. Let me know how you make out. From afar, Jimmy, yeah. It's strange. It was dun dun dun. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I'm trying to remember how it goes. Yeah, that was a cool tune. Definitely cool. Pound Cake, yeah, I love that. Jasco playing, yeah. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? Good to see you. He said Pacer and my iPad starts up Siri. That happened to me the other day. I was on a show, and I was on with Johnny and Dave. I was on Johnny Bean's show, and we were talking, and I said something, and my Siri starts up. But yeah, it's funny, huh? I was actually just trying to remember how to play that song. Best part of that song, AFU, in my opinion, the best part, the solo is freaking madness. It's hard to nail it. I can play it, but I can't play it up to speed. But the best part of that song is this. And Eddie was he was doing it all downstroking back in those days. I don't think you can do it now, but I don't know how you can have that kind of speed. But it was. I'm trying to remember how. Hold on, I know. I missed that. I lost it. Something like that. He just freaking smokes that thing. It's just like, damn, pretty cool. But anyways, so let's get back to something I wanted to chat about a little while ago, and it's cool. We can talk about anything. Well, let's look at Eddie's guitars, how they've changed over the years. Say like back. From when he left Peavey and basically came out with the EVH brand, which obviously is through Fender. Now, I don't know if this Stealth is I don't know if it's in tune or not. Wow, go figure, it is. I haven't played this guitar in like 2-3 months, but let's just check before I get into this. Yeah, I love Pound Cake too, man. You can get new old stock Diver Down Brothers on Music Zoo right now for only $6.99. Yeah, I'm going to grab one of these days. I love those Diver Down guitars. I mean, either that or just make one. I mean, I can build my own. But it's a cool guitar. I just like the Diver Down guitar. It's kind of neat, you know. So Eddie's, he's playing the PV Wolfgangs from end of '95 in the Balance Tour. He started playing them towards the mid of the Balance Tours when they pretty much finished up production or the prototypes with Hartley PV and Eddie, the combo. And basically, not to get into a PV craze, but when Eddie left Music Man and he went with the PV Wolfgangs, he was already having his amps made through PV. The 5150s were being made through PV. So, whatever the reason Eddie left Music Man, there's a lot of rumors out there, but it doesn't really matter. The production was low because Music Man's a great company and they weren't making a lot of guitars. But you got to remember, Eddie wasn't out to... back in those days, early 90s and certainly before that, Eddie wasn't out to, he might have been endorsing guitars, but he wasn't out to come up with an EVH brand or anything back in those days. He just wanted guitars for himself. And if somebody wanted what he played, hey, here you go. And of course now he's completely jumped on the bandwagon and he's, selling striped, freaking, you can get striped G-strings for crying out loud, literally. Bath towels and bathing suits. EVH has pretty much created some amazing stuff that we've all been asking for. So I think it's great. I think it's awesome. But back in those days, Eddie wasn't trying to capitalize on the Stripe stuff, and he wasn't trying to capitalize on his guitar brands, his Kramers and his Music Mans. He was selling the Music Mans, but now he goes with PV and he takes another step up. So the pickups are a little different. They're a little hotter. The body shape's different. They hogged out the top horn. They moved the toggle switch up here, which I still like the switch down here. I always hit it up here when I'm doing tap and stuff. I don't know how Eddie ever liked it up here. I think it's more in the way up here for me. But then again, I'm not a professional musician. But I still like it. I actually like the, I go through phases. I'll look at the Music Man and go, whoa, that's such a beautiful guitar. And it is. And I look at the Wolfgangs, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing too, and it is. And of course, the PV phase lasted from, we're looking at 95, end of the Balance Tour, 96 to 2004, and then Eddie ended up coming out with the prototypes of the EVH Wolfgangs, and then he went with Fender. So when you look at that phase and you look at what Eddie did, when he goes with Fender in 2004, and he's coming out with these guitars, he was still playing his Tobacco 5150 PV Wolfgang Standard with a mailbox silver 5150s on it, and that's like the Music Man, his Ambra one. That is also one of his guitars that's still, I believe, hanging on the 5150 wall because it's one of his favorite PVs. And when they did the EVHs, they pretty much kept the body shape the same and maybe tweaked a couple of things, but they geeked out on the pickups and all the hardware and stuff. So for the 2007 tour, you saw Eddie playing some prototype EVH Wolfgang guitars, maple necks. He was playing a cream one. He was playing the black one, jet black, no binding. It had a number 4 in here because it was number 4 guitar. Maple neck, headstock was completely blank because it was a prototype. And he was also playing a tobacco, like a sunbursty kind of tobacco version, which is a beautiful quilt top. And, kind of get the feel for those guitars. So then there's a delay between 2007, 2008 tour. A few years go by. They come out with, the Frankenstein guitar, Relics had come out. There's some different stuff going on at EVH. And, which actually had been out, for 2007. So now 2012 comes around. And the band goes on tour with Roth again. Second tour with Roth, since they've been back together in 2006, 2007. And now Eddie's playing this stealth guitar. And we're all like, whoa, look at this guitar. It's a matte black finish, arch top, right? Chrome hardware, because he always loves chrome hardware. Eddie does not like black hardware. It's got a different tone to it, a little bit different. So Eddie's always, well, other than his 1984 guitar and the 1986 tour, was Kramer. I mean, he had black hardware on that, but it was, you know, he had an A bass string on there because that's what they're using for Good Enough and all that. But for the most part, Eddie always loved chrome hardware. And he switches to this ebony neck, all right? And the story goes that he was just experimenting with some different things, and Eddie was just like, oh, I'll try that or whatever. So they did an ebony neck, and he fell in love with it. He loved it. And, you know, I mean, I got to say, I mean, I love these ebony necks. They really are amazing. They glide. I mean, of course, the back of the neck is maple, but when you're doing, you know, I mean, when you're doing like, you know, runs and stuff like that, whatever you're doing, or, you know, tapping. It feels very smooth. It doesn't feel like a high gloss neck. It just feels smooth. I mean, I guess smooth would be my term. What do I prefer? I mean, I kind of prefer maple. I always have, just because I'm more used to it. But I can see how Eddie totally fell in love with this kind of a neck. So he's playing this stealth guitar, which looks just like the Peavy's, you know, because it basically is a Peavey Wolfgang. It's just an EVH Fender version of it with a bunch of updated stuff on it, with better quality stuff, you know. Ebony neck. I think he had a titanium nut on it, which this one does too. You know, tilt back headstock. They basically cut out the scoop here versus just, you know, left it like the Peavy's. And great neck. And now Eddie's using this other thing. You know, he's got this other little rig on his guitar. And basically, when I first saw it in the tattoo video, I'm like, whoa! You know, he moved the toggle switch back down. You know, I'm like, oh, never mind. That's a kill switch. You know, so he's doing it. You know, so, and I never could understand why Eddie doesn't use this more. I mean, there's so many things he could do with that kill switch. But Eddie never looks at stuff as a trick. I mean, I'll say I look at stuff, you know, as a trick, because like I said, I'm a limited, you know, player. But so when I have this kind of stuff, I'll use it to, you know, frickin' cows come home. It's like this stuff. You know? I'll use the hell out of this freaking bar because it just, you know, takes up space. You know, for me. So it's cool for me to, you know, I mean, I can play a song like Panama. I mean, I can do something like that, you know, and just utilize that. But I really think it would be cool to see Eddie do some more stuff with him. I mean, he does it. Obviously, he gets back into it, you know, what he really got me. But, so he's got this new little toy. Got the D-tuner still, obviously. And it's just a little bit of a departure for him, you know. And so he plays this guitar basically throughout the whole tour. And Eddie had a number 1 on a headstock because it was his number 1 stealth. And he had a number 2. And the first number 1, this one, the back where the kill switch was, it was actually not an oval route. It's a circular route, just like this one, because this one's custom. So when you buy the EVH official tour relic, it's going to have a oval one. But just remember, Eddie's original number 1, was not oval. It was a circular route, just like this. His number 2 stealth that he had, which is just like this too, but except I don't think it had the tape here over the pickups. That did have an oval route, just like this one right here. It wasn't circular. So the story goes, as Eddie says, 2012 tour, he plays this guitar, he loves it, he loves the ebony neck, you know, he's just really digging this stealth guitar, it's his main player. And Adam from Futone, another good friend of mine. Adam's a great guy. He really geeked this guitar out for Eddie. He had the stainless screws on it. He had the titanium blocks, titanium nut. And the only thing Adam didn't do to this guitar is they just had a regular Floyd EVH block. It wasn't a big block or a big steel block or a big brass block. It was the regular block. Because, quite frankly, when you have a guitar that's, hear that, flush mounted, okay, and you have all the good stuff like the titanium blocks here and the stainless screws and the titanium nut, there is such a thing as overdoing it a little bit, all right, to the point where you just don't need to. And, you can geek out your guitars any way you want, but if you're Eddie Van Halen, man, you don't need to freaking worry about that. You can freaking play a broken ukulele and sound like Eddie Van Halen, So there is such a thing as overdoing it. So I think on this particular guitar, Eddie pretty much was just like, hey, yeah, that's fine. I don't need a big block on that. Just rung what you rung. This is great. You already geeked out on the stainless screws and the titanium blocks and the nut. I'm good. And Eddie, like this guitar here, he had everything he needed in it, and it sounded amazing. So, 2012 tour ends. They do the Australian show. 2013, they play in Japan. Couple shows in 2013. I think at the tail end. I forget where they all were. And then the band kind of, they kind of go back into I won't call it seclusion, but kind of recording and doing stuff, whatever. And then 2015 rolls around. So they go out and they play the Jimmy Kimmel show. They play the Ellen DeGeneres show. One other show they did on TV, and Eddie's still playing the Stealth because it's his main guitar, right? Well, it's a great guitar. But at some point, right before they went back out on tour, Eddie gets a hold of Chip and he's like, hey, I need... just do something for me. I'm looking for a black Stealth guitar, and I want to have it look like it was painted white, poorly, and it just relicked. So Chip kind of is like, okay, all right, what am I going to do with this? And according to Chip, he really wasn't sure what Eddie was going to think of it. So a couple of weeks before they go out to tour for 2015, right? Chip presents Eddie with this guitar, the 2015 Tour Relic guitar, right? It's a Stealth guitar. It's a black guitar. Somebody painted it white. It chipped and cracked and freckled and scored and checked, or whatever you want to call it, right? And it just wore. I can never figure out why the tone knob wore, because Eddie never uses a tone knob. Unless he's changed, Eddie would never use the tone. Matter of fact, all my signature guitars, my PVs and these, I unhook the tone knobs. I don't even have them hooked. I know they're high friction. They're not low friction like these things, but why? I don't even use them. So the fact that this has like wear kind of makes me laugh, because if I was Eddie Van Halen, I'd say don't wear the tone knob, because I want to make it look like I never use it, because he never has. Maybe he does now, I don't know. But who thought he'd be playing ebony necks back in the 90s, 80s and 90s. So Chip presents Eddie with this guitar, and Eddie plays it, and he loves it. Loves it. And we all know about the finish. Again, it's got the kill switch, right? Same thing. Same hardware, okay? Except this time, because this guitar came to Eddie, according to Adam Reaver, he asked Eddie if Eddie wanted, him to tweak out the bridge. And Eddie's like, nah, just leave it, it's cool. So this particular one is same basic blocks, same basic screws for the Floyd. Original factory. Like I said, I did put a big block in mine, but it's a basic standard block in the real one, Eddie's. Although it is chrome hardware, right? And it's got the chrome nut. It wasn't a titanium nut, just chrome. But it's got the, this particular guitar had all chrome hardware anyways. And of course, you know, the headstock like mine has been relic and everything. And it had block inlays, which is different. And pretty much, you know, it was just totally reliced out, and Eddie loved it. He fell in love with the guitar because it's the same exact thing as the Stealth. The only thing Eddie said that he didn't quite like, and he tweaked it a little bit, he said the neck felt a little fatter when he first played it. And Eddie goes through changes. If you look at his Frankenstrat neck back in the day, that was a really fat neck, right? Very wide, not long, just fat. And then he goes with the Kramers, and those are, you know, on his 5150, like this one. I mean, those freaking necks were just, you know, this one's made by Butala, and it's an exact replica of what Eddie's was, just like Music Man's, very thin, very thin. And then he goes with PVs on the PV Wolfgangs, and he's back to a fat neck again. And then when he goes with EVH, he kind of thins it back out and finds that balance, and they're a little thinner. But anyways, this particular neck, according to the 2015 Guitar World magazine, Eddie says right before they went on tour, he loved the guitar, but the neck was a little too fat. So what he did is he sanded it down, didn't get it down to exact specs of what his Stealth was, but he pretty much got it down to where he was, you know, he was good with it, and he used it for the whole tour, and he said it sounded much better. So we got to see Eddie play this really cool looking guitar, you know, for the 2015 tour. So he goes to the 2015 tour with this, and pretty much that's the last time we've seen Eddie play on tour, you know, live. And we've seen numerous guitars be, you know, released since then. You know, the 5150 Stripe series. We've seen, you know, the actual replicas of these guitars be released. So I guess we're all wanting to know, myself included, what is Eddie playing in the studio now? Is he playing the Tour Relic? Is he playing a Stealth? Is he playing a different guitar? What's he playing? I would absolutely love to know. But I think we're going to find out one day. I would love to see Eddie crank out the Steinberger GL2T. We all know that back in 2015, during the tour, or just before the tour, Eddie had Jeff Babbitt's overhaul that GL2T Steinberger 5150 Trans-Trem. So the guitar has been set up by Jeff and is ready to rock. So has Eddie been playing that at all? I hope so. I mean, I'd love to hear Summer Nights and Me Wise Magic and Pleasure Dome and Get Up and, you know, all that. I mean, I would love to hear be a great song to hear Eddie play that, do the trans trim thing again. It'd be pretty cool. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what we got here. Fruitcake, what's up, Tony? How you doing, man? I'm doing good. How are you? What's up with Golf Digest magazine doing a 3-page article on Eddie? Well, Eddie's always been kind of a big golf. Well, I think back in the early '90s when he went with Music Man, Eddie's kind of got into golf back. At that time, him and Sterling Ball were big golf buddies, and that's right around when he met Matt Bruck, his personal assistant, former guitar tech. Him and Matt used to play softball together and golf, I believe, and so Eddie's pretty much been a big golf guy since then. And they did an article on Eddie. Actually, if you get on YouTube and you type in Eddie Van Halen Music Man Sterling Ball, you'll see a video of Eddie and Sterling playing golf, and then Eddie was helping out Sterling's little boy at the time. The little guy had a disease, and Eddie was helping sponsor, and do fundraisers and things like that, because Eddie and Sterling were pretty tight back in those days. So Eddie's been a big golf guy ever since, and Golf Magazine actually did a special on Eddie back in 99, I think it was 99 or 2000, because he had some PV Wolfgangs in the back at that time. It was before he went to EVH. But yeah, Eddie's been a big golf guy. So every once in a while, a Golf Magazine hits him up. Actually, Hustler Magazine hit Eddie up in 2008. And they did a special on Eddie's guitars, and you can see the 2 burritos and a root beer float magazine guitar. But Hustler Porno Magazine did a thing on Eddie Van Halen. I actually have the article somewhere. It's kind of like, huh? But kind of interesting. In a recent interview, Sammy says Eddie is worth $300 million. Maybe. Frankie, what's up, dude? How you doing? I think it's cool how Wolfgang has striped some of his basses, the colors that he did. Yeah, my favorite is the blue striped bass. I thought that was pretty awesome. Motor City, what's going on, man? Fruitcake gets a hack, handicap of about 18. yeah, I know. I don't know how good he is now, but I've heard he's always a hack. He's like me. I play golf too, and I totally suck at it. I mean, some days I'm okay, but anyways. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. Just thought we'd get on. Good, Frankie. I'm glad you're doing well. Anybody got any questions? It's about 6 o'clock. I think we'd call it. I just wanted to get on for a little. We were going about an hour and 45 minutes, 48 minutes, I think we've been going. And I'll probably go make some dinner. Mix up another drink. Maybe watch a little Netflix tonight. I haven't seen my lady Jalen jump in. We call her Van Jalen. You guys probably seen her on Instagram and Facebook doing all the poses with my guitars and anyways. But Ed used to golf standing on one foot. Weird. Huh. Really? I didn't know that, Hellface. Yeah, we all suck at it. For me, golfing is an excuse to get out with my buddies, have a good time, have a few beers, and just, whatever. I don't ever keep score. If I kept score, I'd lose all the time, It's funny, I love all sports. In high school, I played football, basketball, baseball, soccer. That's when I got into martial arts too. When I was in junior high, and so I was always a very active kid. Still am active even as a big kid, but golf was something I always. I hated watching golf. Baseball was probably my best sport. Physically playing, I was always a first baseman. I played first base and right field, and it's a little shortstop sometimes. But I always liked golf. But I can't watch golf. It's so freaking boring, and it sucks watching golf. I love baseball. I have a hard time watching baseball unless I'm actually there. So, but as I get older, I can watch baseball now because it's more of therapeutic. It's I can watch baseball now, but golf, ugh, my gosh, it's like watching paint dry. But I love to play it. I'm speaking for me, okay? So my uncle, who passed away a few years ago from cancer. Rest his soul. He was a great guy, my Uncle Ronnie. Loved the man to death. He actually was my first real exposure to playing golf when I was probably 17 or 18. No, I was actually 20 or 21. He started taking. I mean, I knew how to play golf. I used to golf with my grandparents. I used to go out because my grandparents lived right on a country club. So I used to go out and golf with them. We'd go to Florida. I'd ride around in the golf cart with my grandmother. So I knew how to play. I just didn't ever really play. It was really my uncle who got me into playing, and he was a very good golfer, and got me my first actual set of clubs and everything, and whatever, and I still have them. And I guess I go out with my friends maybe 2-3 times a year. I'll golf, and I enjoy it though. I'd like to kind of get back into it a little bit, a little bit more, just because it is a good time. It's very relaxing for me, Thanks for Van Halenizing my Monday, bro. Always a pleasure, Rob. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it, Tony. You're welcome. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. 11:03 in the UK. Whoa, you guys are getting ready for bed. Yeah, it's 6:03. Well, 6:05 now here. So yeah, we're a little earlier. But I guess in that note, I'll let you guys go. But thank you, Frankie. Yeah, this is my tour relic. If you go back, I don't know when you jumped in, but if you go back and you watch the video, I kind of talk a little bit about this. This is a cool guitar. I enjoy it. Fun guitar. I enjoy it. But all guitars are fun, right? Since I bought the Kramer Beretta with that bridge humbucker and Floyd Rose, I can't even look at a Fender Strat. Yeah, I'm a Floyd guy. I'm a Floyd guy because I just enjoy the sounds and the feel of the bar, and a lot of people out there, they don't even want anything to do with the whammy bar, and I guess I understand that. I like to play, as much as I prefer a Floyd-based mounted guitar, because that's just my playing style. I force myself to play like my Strat, my Fender Strat, or my Les Paul, or even my Ibanez, my Shark Destroyer, because I guess what I'm trying to say, guys, is it forces me to be a better player. I don't always want to have to rely on, I don't want to rely on that all the time. I love the sounds, and it creates really good fills, but it's also really easy to get caught up in the to be labeled a bar abuser, And again, it doesn't. I mean, when you're playing in your bedroom like I am, who freaking cares? I mean, abuse the freaking thing. Big deal. It's your guitar. I mean, whatever. But I guess if you're a musician and you're writing music, either professionally or professionally, I guess I would say, then you probably want to be a little more versatile, I suppose, I would say, and have a little bit more, technique in, your toolbox, more tools in your toolbox than just abusing the bar. But at the same time, look at guys like Tom Morello, or whatever, those guys, from Audio Slave and Rage Against the Machine. I mean, those guys are freaking, they use all kinds of weird sounds, But I agree with you. I love the bar, man. I mean, it's. I don't look at it as a crutch. I look at it as an effect. But I also like sometimes to force myself to do more bends and stuff. Like. I mean, if you listen to Running with the Devil, there's not any bar in there at all, but there's a lot of bends, So I mean, I try to force myself to play a guitar sometimes without a bar, just to kind of make myself, do more, progression-y kind of stuff, you know. Sometimes, you know. But I mean, yeah, my main guitar is going to be a bar guitar with a Floyd, so it doesn't go out of tune. Yeah. And a lot of people say, you know, like, oh, you know, people that aren't big Floyd, I hate Floyd Roses. They're so difficult to set up. They're a nightmare. Actually, a Floyd guitar is so simple to set up. It's easier to set up a Floyd for me than it is a non-Floyd guitar. It's easier to make adjustments to it because I understand the concept. Plus, my Floyds are always flush mounted, so it's a little bit different. I'm going to do a video when I get my Steinberger guitar back, my Transtrem guitar. It's being, right now, I don't know if you guys saw my last video, it's being worked up by Jeff Babbitt's. It's having a total overhaul, Transtrem, rebuild, refret, all new electronics, everything. So it's going to be like a brand spanking new Steinberger guitar. So I'm so pumped to get it back. I'm hoping to have it back sometime August, maybe early September. I'm going to drive out to Poughkeepsie, out to Headless, to Don Greenberg. His house. He's the guy that he's the VP of Headless Guitars. Bought it from Ned Steinberger. I actually personally dropped the guitar off to his place and had the opportunity to meet him and Jeff Babbitt's myself. And I'm really excited to get my Berger back because that's one of my favorite guitars. And to be quite honest, when I picked my guitar up from Nesdal's house, I did a string change on it. I played Dave's new GL2T, Dave Nesdal, my good buddy, and I was like, damn, it's like everything was so much tighter. Not in a bad way, and like the bridge was tighter. It was just more like on point, you know. Everything was more connected, where mine was a little bit too loose, you know. It's like everything felt different. The frets felt better, and I never played another Steinberg guitar in my life. The only one I'd ever played is the one that I've owned for the last 20 years. So even when you would like finger pick stuff, you know, like even when you would like finger pick the stuff and hit the chords, I was like, whoa, this thing feels amazing. And the bar, you know, way it would lock in and out of the different settings and tunings, I was just amazed, you know, at the overall feel. So because his was recently set up by Jeff too. So I got a whole new appreciation for the Steinberg guitars. All those years I was like, my guitar just feels kind of sloppy. I mean, it played good, and other people could play it better than I could, and I was just like, I mean, it was a cool guitar, don't get me wrong. But I never really, it was never like a guitar I would want to go pick up because it was always kind of alien feeling to me, so to speak. And I played Dave's, and I was like, whoa, this feels freaking amazing. I mean, even the tap stuff, you know, I mean, everything just felt like on point, I guess I should say. So I'm so excited to get it back. And Punky, you're right. Floyds are so simple once you understand them. Once you know how they act, once you understand, you know, not just the intonation aspect, but once you understand how everything is set up and you know, the right height and the string maintenance, and it's such a simple concept. Like I said, I mean, for me to set up my Les Paul or my Strat, I'll bring it to my tech. For me to set up my Floyd, to set up I'm not talking about wiring, but set up my Floyd, piece of cake, boom. And that goes for setting shims and the nuts, and it's easy, you know, for me. And like Jimmy says, even if you don't use the bar, it's great for tuning stability. Yeah, I mean, if you pop a B string or a G string or whatever, even a D string, depending on how hard you play, you know, if you do utilize that flush-mounted bridge system, the stability is pretty consistent. It really is, and your guitar won't go out of tune. And that's what I like about them. You know, I mean, even if you're not using the bar, I mean, you're going to bend. You know. even if you're going to bend and being a real aggressive bender, I mean, your guitar on a Strat or a Paul, they can go out of tune. And a lot of it has to depend on how how you tie your strings and stuff like that. But I love the Floyds for that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a great option to have. And of course, we all love using our bars, Let me do the EVH stuff. Wait a minute. Okay, that's better. Come on. There we go. I guess not. But anyways. I got one EVH Wolfgang guitar in black, USA. Oh, very cool, Frank. Very nice. Yeah, the black one's just sharp. They're real slick looking. They really are. Yeah, they really are. But, Barney, what do you say? Want to go get some dinner? Hey, Jimmy Carr, if you're still watching, how are your little Chihuahua dogs doing? I forget their name. Oh, one was Coke. No, Pepsi. Pepsi was one of them, right? You tired? You've been sleeping all day. Oh, yeah, clean my nose so I don't have to blow it. Clean my nose up. Thank you. He does. He likes to lick my nose. Must be salty. Or sweetness. I am pretty sweet. That's what she said. You're tired, boy, huh? All right, guys. I guess we'll call it. I just wanted to get on and just kind of dub around for a few minutes and just kind of chat about Van Halen and guitars, and hopefully I gave you guys a couple of tips on relicking 5150s and parts and stuff like that, and I always try to throw some decent info in there so you guys can take that to the bank, so to speak, when you're building replicas and stuff like that, or whether you agree with what I say or whether you don't or whatever, just some stuff to keep in mind. It's all good information. When I get information from people, even still to this day, on how to build this or what color paint to use or what to do with this or how to set this up, whatever it is, whether I take the advice or I look at the advice and I say, okay, I'm going to do the opposite because I think that it's all beneficial. So whatever I say to you guys or whatever I suggest or whatever we talk about, I just use it to your advantage. Enjoy it. Whether you agree with it or not, just use it to your advantage and have fun with it. And the biggest thing for me is it's all about having a good time. Like I said, training in martial arts and law enforcement and firearms and stuff like that. That's my expertise. That's what I enjoy doing, fitness and stuff like that. I'm going to do more of those videos too. But when it comes to the guitar stuff and specifically the Van Halen stuff, that's all just fun. It's a good time. I enjoy this stuff, and we're all learning. Anytime I can help somebody, what kind of neck did Eddie use on this, or what kind of bridge was this, or what kind of string retainer was that, what kind of tuners did he have on that, or what was the route like in this, anytime I can, have some information for somebody, that's a home run for me. It's not about making money, it's not about this or that, because I don't make anything off of this. I spend money on this. I don't make anything. I wish I could make something on it, because it'd be a freaking dream come true. But it's a passion. It's just fun. It's a good time at the end of the day, and first thing in the morning when you wake up, or you're at work and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to get home and play this song or do this, or I got this coming in or whatever. It's a good time. It's fun, and that's the way we should keep it. There's so much drama out there on the internet, on Facebook, on Instagram, on sometimes we're all so passionate about what we do. And I try to be friendly with everybody. I have so many friends on my, Van Halen list, people that I go to NAMM with, people that I hang out with, people that I play guitar with. Some of you guys are watching right now, like my buddy Jimmy Carr. I literally don't, I stay away from the drama piece just because I think we're all in the same boat. Okay, and we all have our own personalities and we all have our own stuff, but at the same time, I love all you guys, and I benefit from all you guys, and I just hope that everybody that watches the show or everybody that I talk to, somehow benefits from something maybe that I said to them, and if they don't, maybe one day they will. And that's kind of how I try to look at life. As I get older, I realize, you only live once, And I try not to have enemies. I have some enemies in my life just from past experiences. I think we all do. But even those folks at this point in my life, I'm just like, you know what? I just am going to choose to not address them or talk to them anymore. And hey, who knows? Maybe one day we could, have a beer together or a coffee or whatever. And if not, that's fine too. But I try to let my heart go, be at ease, so to speak. But anyways, that being said, that really wasn't what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate everything you guys do and watching my shows, and I'll keep trying to do them, and I'll keep trying to. I will try to get a better mic, by the way. But let's have some more fun, and I hope you guys have a great week. Frankie, thank you, my friend. Hope my Chinese 5150 replica makes it past customs. I'm sure it will, Punky. Hang in there, dude. I can't wait to see it. Send me some pictures. Find me on Facebook. Pepsi and Sprite are the guinea pigs. That's right. That's not the Chihuahuas, the guinea pigs, Jimmy. I'm sorry. You're right. I couldn't hear what the Chihuahuas' names were because they were barking at me so much when I was down there. Frankie, take care, buddy. Have a good night. And Jimmy, I will give you a call this week. Let's catch up. We got to get together, dude. I'd love to come out and see you or have you come out here again. It'd be kind of fun. But guys, have a great night. Thank you. We'll do a show again this week sometime. And cheers. Take care, guys.